Hello, everyone. This is Harman Smith, and this is my reaction to DarkSydePhill's Super Mario Brothers movie review. As a precursor, this is the original Mario movie review, not the Mario Galaxy movie that just recently came out. I was aware that DSP didn't like the movie, but I'd never actually seen this video before. And when he started going off about like the Galaxy movie and how bad that was, that really got me going back and looking at this video, because I'd never actually seen it before, and I was kind of curious what he thought in the spur of the moment. And it's very, very interesting kind of watching this because I do think this very clearly demonstrates the kind of mentality that people are in when they criticize the Mario Galaxy movie. Because you're going to see this a lot, where a lot of these people come out and they try and say, "Oh, I'm a huge fan of Mario, and this is not what I expected. This is not what I wanted." And it's like, you really get the sense that it's not actually true. Okay, you get the sense that these people would be unhappy, like, regardless of what Nintendo did with the movie. And I think this video is a really good example as to why. Going forward, I would like to associate every Mario movie critic, every cartoon reviewer, every professional film reviewer, everyone in the scene who's been downplaying the Mario movie. Like, you have the exact same opinion as DarkSydePhil, like one of the biggest dummies on the internet. So let's go ahead and look at what he has to say. I completely forgot he even had a different channel. The Best Reacts channel.
What is going on, everyone? Phil here. Welcome to DSP Reacts, and welcome to my review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, for clarification purposes, my viewing audience was asking me to review this movie since it was announced and had a release date back in April of this year. It is now July of this year.
Wait, what?
Because, as you know, I have a very busy life and work.
So this guy who claims to be a huge Mario fan did not go out to see it in theaters, but he waited to see it on demand, which is, by the way, a pattern that you're going to see again with the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which he still hasn't seen, I believe. So this guy is going to try and claim that he's a huge Mario fan, and yet he didn't bother going to a theater to see like an hour and a half long movie. Okay, like, he does this thing where he's like, "Oh, I'm busy. I can't go see movies," as if it's like it's super easy to as if it's difficult to just end a stream, take your fat wife, and like go see this movie. Like, I don't get it. Like, my life is busy. That's why I've been struggling so much with going to see things or do things. It's just a gigantic cope. Wait, hang on.
Now connect to Cody.
I really wanted to see if I could get to the movies to see it. Sadly, I just never did. And eventually, I did get to see it digitally on demand thanks to a fan. So thank you. Big shout out. You know who you are, who donated.
He didn't even buy the movie himself. He had a fan do it for him. Like, what a cheap fuck. He didn't even like he didn't even he didn't even buy it himself. This is how cheap this motherfucker is. But anyway.
The movie for me to watch for this review. People have been wanting to hear my thoughts on this for a while, and I said, you know what? When I get a chance, finally, I'll do it. Now I had opportunity and access to it, and I watched it last night. And I have a lot of thoughts on it, actually. Although, admittedly, I don't know if my thoughts are going to essentially line up with a lot of people's. Then again, I didn't really read or listen to many reviews of the movie regardless. I just kind of listened to my audience's thoughts on it. Seemed like the consensus of my viewing audience over the months that it's been out is that it's pretty good. They liked it. They thought it was exciting. It was an interesting movie. Now, as you know, I'm a lifelong Mario fan. I started playing Super Mario Brothers 1 back in the day. I actually owned regular Mario Brothers for the Atari 7800. So I actually started playing Mario games before most people even knew Mario existed.
What? Most people Mario Bros 70. What? Like, he's really trying to like do that thing where he's like, "Oh man, I'm a huge Mario fan because I owned it on Atari. It's like as if Mario hasn't been around since like the 1981 arcade game. Okay. Like again, Mario's first appearance. He's acting like Mario was some like underground thing before like the NES, and that just wasn't true at all. It was already like kind of a cultural phenomenon, but
I played every single numbered iteration since then. As a YouTuber in the last 15 years, I've
what
played every single major Mario game that's come to market, even
what numbered release? What does he mean? Like did he stop after Super Mario Bros. 3? What is he talking about? Because they're not numbered after that point. What did he say?
Mario existed. I played every single numbered iteration since then.
Yeah, numbered iterations. So like what he's saying is that like he stopped after 3. Okay, he didn't play World, he didn't play Yoshi's Island, he didn't play 64, Sunshine, New Super Mario Bros, Galaxy 2. What's he talking about? I played every single one. Like, bro, I thought you didn't play Galaxy when that came out. Okay, like again, I've seen you play Galaxy recently. Okay, and you hated it. You're not a fan.
As a YouTuber in the last 15 years, I've played every single major Mario game that's come to market, even spin offs and other things. I would consider myself somewhat of a Mario aficionado, although I'm not necessarily like a hardcore Mario fan. I'm not someone
Ugh.
who's like absolutely lining up to do crazy runs in these games and playing them a million times. You know, a lot of these games is kind of a one and done deal for me.
So in other words, you're not a fan. You're a casual player who plays Mario games because like they're popular and you don't really understand it. You don't really see the appeal of it. You're just grifting off of it because it's a popular thing, okay? Like again, that's the issue is that you don't actually enjoy Mario. It's just something that you latch onto for gamer cred.
But I thoroughly enjoy them. I like some of the lore. I like the fact that every Mario game has a new creative spin and stuff.
What lore? What is he talking about? Lore? Fucking lore? Like again, it's like an anomaly when you get like Paper Mario having lore. Okay, that's why people spurg out about the Thousand Year Door so much. Like Mario games don't have lore. Like what is he talking about? I wouldn't even say like the RPGs have like a ton of lore. Like what is he talking about? Like I'm a huge fan of Super Mario because of the lore. Things that nobody has ever said ever.
Stuff to it, the color, the characters, the music, all of it. You know, first party Nintendo games is good quality stuff, and you know that every time you go to play them. So, when they were going to make a mainstream animated movie, as opposed to the live action movie that I saw in the 90s in theaters starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, which is a really good movie for all the wrong reasons, when I heard this one was coming out, I felt, wow, imagination, or excuse me, Illumination. These are the same guys who make Despicable Me, Minions. Those are really, really popular animated movies that have made ridiculous amounts of money. So you would think this movie is going to be taken very seriously and is going to be treated with respect. And this is the opportunity for video games to actually break into the mainstream with animation. And a lot of people were saying if this movie ends up being
It did. First of all, like the movie is like more than mainstream. It's bigger than actual mainstream things. I do think we do have to spell it out to people is that yes, these movies are indeed bigger than most mainstream things. But like he's really okay. So he brings up Illumination. Okay. If you know anything about Illumination, you know people in the animation community hate them because of how they don't take the animation seriously and they're mostly interested in making money. They're seen as being kind of like very lazy, thoughtless creators, and I really don't think that's true. Again, I'll have to like make a video talking about this. This is going to go into like why I hate the animation community, but Illumination isn't known for having like deep involving plots. Essentially, they're just meant to be entertainment. Now, that's actually why I think of them as being better than other animation studios because like they're not doing what Disney and DreamWorks are doing where it's always like deep messaging with the political slant. Like no, it's actual like entertainment. And I find it interesting how like their reputation has tried to spin this as being a bad thing when I would actually say it's probably one of their best strengths and probably why Nintendo
good, it
selected
does
them.
well. this could be the stepping stone to see all of your favorite video game franchises, Nintendo in particular, but possibly even others, make it on the big screen and become big budget franchises. So, everyone was wondering, would this movie be good? But as you know, this movie did ridiculously well. It basically broke box office records. I believe they're saying it's like, as of today, like the second highest grossing animated film of all time, which is absolutely insane because it's only been out since April and it did that well. It's something like that. Like, it's just a crazy huge success story. And already you got, you know, people within Nintendo saying, oh, we're lined up. I mean, Zelda's probably next, and then we're going to continue on with other franchises, right? But was the movie any good? You know, or was it just that it was because it was hyped or whatever? Well, after watching it last night, allow me to give you my full thoughts, okay? From the moment this movie starts, you feel nostalgia because the immediate thing that happens when the movie begins is they start playing the theme song from the Super Mario Brothers animated television show, which used to be called the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, late 80s, early 90s. I forget the exact time frame, but I used to watch this show. So it's actually an 80s and 90s kind of rap. Like, we're the Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game. You know, it's cheesy, but it's such a retro vibe because this is what you used to hear all the time when you were a kid watching that show. And the joke is that this is an ad that Mario and Luigi just took out to play on New York television because they're plumbers trying to get jobs, and this is the ad they purchased. They had that song in it, okay? It's kind of funny because the logos and everything in the ad are actually logos from their actual video games too, which is kind of neat. I was like, that's a cool way to kind of explain it. But it is kind of odd because you literally get like 15 or more minutes of backstory of how these two guys are literally regular plumbers in New York City trying to get work, and how their family doesn't really support them or believe in them that they can do it, that there's rival plumbers out there that hate their guts and think that they're a joke. And there's actually a running joke that Mario is short, which is weird because I don't know if in the canon of the video games he ever was short, but in this movie,
Okay, he talked about being a big fan of the lore, but he doesn't know who Spike is. Like, Spike is a construction worker. They were in construction. Foreman Spike, you know, like they weren't working for him as plumbers. Okay, Phil, come on.
everyone says he's just a really short guy. I mean, he's shorter than all of his family members, okay? So anyway, you know, to make a long story short, they get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom by just happening to happen upon a random green pipe in a sewer, and they get sucked in, and they're separated. Luigi
Which
gets
is
shot
lore
to one end of the
accurate.
Mushroom Kingdom, and Mario gets shot to the other end. Luigi's in the bad part of town. He's with the dry bones, you know, undead skeleton Koopas who are chasing him. He ends up in a castle. He's being, you know, harassed, and eventually gets captured by King Koopa and imprisoned.
Which
While Mario,
okay. This is actually why I wanted to make this video, because like I saw this and I just had to like comment on this because I haven't heard anyone else bring this up. You know, I haven't heard anyone else address this, but this is like the really bizarre thing about this video to me. Okay, is that Phil uses the old 80s like localized names for the characters. Okay, in which he's referring to Bowser as King Koopa and Princess Peach as Toadstool. Like, if you don't pay attention to this, you probably wouldn't notice this, but it's like, this is the thing people do when they're trying to be tryhards, when they're trying to like pretend as if as if they're like old school, like, oh yeah, I still use the old names for the characters because I'm so hardcore and I've been playing this for so long. Like, I've seen people do this occasionally, but it's like, it's really weird seeing Phil do this because like I don't believe he's ever actually done this before. Like every other instance I've seen him, like, I'm pretty sure he does say Bowser or Peach usually, but it feels like he's deliberately making this choice to use the old names for the characters, the old localized names, to try and like push this idea that like that he's like some like expert on like the lore and history of Super Mario Bros. And it's just unbelievably dumb. Like it's just so forced.
immediately starts running into more friendly folk, such as Toad, the denizen of the Mushroom Kingdom, who leads him to the princess. Once he talks to the princess, he finds out the backstory that apparently the princess is from another universe and at one point was warped to this Mushroom Kingdom and was trained to live there and eventually became the leader. Don't ask me why they would take someone who randomly wandered upon their kingdom as a child and made her the princess. figure that one out. It's never really logically explained. But in reality, that's kind of the plot synopsis of this movie. Nothing is ever logically explained. Things
Oh
happen.
yeah. Super Mario Bros. A game about jumping on turtles and eating mushrooms to grow in size. Yeah. Nothing is logically explained. Yeah, so this is my problem with this. Okay, like he wants to pretend as if he's this super fan of Super Mario Bros. That he's like played all the games, that he knows everything about it, and yet like he questions all of these aspects that are just very clearly rooted in like the game's like history and its personality, where things just kind of happen and you just kind of accept it. Okay. That's what makes it great. Okay, that's what makes it a good adaptation is that like it doesn't over explain things. It just kind of like throws all this crazy stuff at you and you just kind of had to accept it. It's very, very good for that reason. But Phil has to like this is a very typically like stereotypically American thing to do. Like he has to like have everything explained to him. It has to be like this thing where like, oh yeah, you have to take the time to explain how all this works and like what the history is and what the lore is. And like the reality is you don't really have to do that. Like the reality is you just have to kind of accept certain things and like use your imagination. And like that's something that someone like Phil just can't like handle. Fans like look at stuff like this and they like speculate about it and start like coming to theories. I brought this up when the movie came out. Like what did Peach mean when she said galaxies? Okay, and now we know is that like she's Rosalina's sister in the movie continuity. Uh, Phil never thought about things like that. He never came to these conclusions. He just wants to complain for the sake of complaining.
They continue to happen. There is a plot that's moving, but none of it actually makes much sense. So the villain of the movie is Bowser, played by Jack Black.
Yeah, see, he
I
says
think Jack
Bowser.
Black does a reasonable amount of voice acting, good amount of voice acting for the character. But the plot is that Bowser has a crush on Princess Peach,
Yep, I
wants
think
to
it's
marry her, and therefore he traveled the galaxy finding power ups and finally found the superstar and felt that because he found the superstar, Toadstool will marry him. Why?
What? Have you never played a Mario game before? Like, have you not played Odyssey, where like that's literally what he does? Like, this is kind of his. This has been his established motivation for years. Okay, like, why is he acting so shocked by this? Like, oh man, Bowser liked Peach. Oh, who could have seen this coming?
Never explained. He just thinks she will. All right? Even
Well,
his
he's an
denizens, the
asshole.
Koopa army, when they hear his plan, are like, what? They even react like that. Like, what? That doesn't sound like a very good plan. But they have to do what he says because he's the big ruler and he's more powerful than all of them. So they got to do what he tells them to do. And so once Mario hits the Mushroom Kingdom and teams up with Princess Toadstool, or Princess Peach as she's called in this movie, they're
In this movie? What is he talking about? In this movie? She's been Peach for like 30 years. Like, what is he talking about? In Japan, she was always known as Peach. What are you talking about? Like Princess Toadstool or Peach, as she's known in this movie. Like, what are you talking about?
job is to try to find Luigi, who's missing. Well, Bowser captures Luigi, gets a wind of what's going on with Mario, and becomes insanely jealous, believing that because Mario has teamed up with Princess Peach, that she might have a crush or feelings for him. And so now it's his mission to not only win over Princess Peach, but to also basically crush Mario, who seems to be his romantic rival. Meanwhile, that's not really happening in the movie. Like, there's no real romance between Mario and Princess Peach. It's
Wrong.
just kind of like, they're trying to help each other out. Peach wants to defend her kingdom from Bowser's invasion.
That's what makes it based. They have a better relationship than like 99% of other film characters. I do need to make a video about this actually, but yeah, this is just retarded. Yeah, how dare their relationship develop over a series of movies? Like, how dare they not fuck like the instant like he meets her in the castle? Like,
While Mario's just a stranger in paradise trying to find his lost brother. Now, the movie has ups and downs, twists and turns. There's a lot of cameo appearances. There's an entire plot line where they actually have interaction with the Kong people. Yes, Donkey Kong and his race are a race in the Mushroom Kingdom. That's not canon in the Nintendo universe,
what?
but in this movie it is. They drive.
It's not canon. It's not canon. What are you talking about? Like, just like what are you talking? They've always been connected. Like again, Donkey Kong is not. Wow. Like, not canon.
Mushroom Kingdom. That's not canon in the Nintendo universe, but
Yeah, the Nintendo universe. He's not even saying the Mario universe. He says Nintendo in general. So what he's saying is that Donkey Kong is not canon to Nintendo. Like, hey, genius, what game did Super Mario debut in? In 1981 in the arcades. Like I don't understand this autistic obsession. Like, has he never played Donkey Kong? Does he not know? Like, this is like the weird thing about this is that like, because he said this like in one of his Galaxy videos too, is that like Donkey Kong shouldn't have been in this movie because Donkey Kong has nothing to do with Mario. And I'm just like, even as a kid, I knew that wasn't true. Okay, it's just insane.
in this movie it is. They drive around in carts that look oddly like vehicles from Mario Kart, although
Yeah.
Mario Kart is never referenced and no official
What?
racing circuit is ever referenced. There's
What?
multiple driving scenes in the movie that are reminiscent of Mario Kart stuff.
Wow, Mario Kart, one of Nintendo's biggest brands. What does he mean Mario Kart is never referenced? Because they're not literally like in a circuit. Like the fact that the carts are there and they're driving on Rainbow Road and then they get attacked by a blue shell, like all of that is a reference because they don't literally use the term Mario Kart and they don't race Bowser in a circuit. That somehow means it's not like a reference to Mario Kart. Like this doesn't make any sense.
And let me put it this way. There's some things I really like about the movie. I like that there's a lot of Easter egg references. If you are a fan of Mario, you're going to get a lot of references in the movie as, oh, I recognize that creature from a Mario game. Wow, they're playing this theme song of Mario music that I know from a Mario video game in the movie. And those themes permeate throughout. If you're just kind of counting Easter eggs, you're going to have like a giant notepad this stacked by the end of the movie saying, wow, look at all those references to stuff from the Mario franchises in this movie. But never really did they pan out to be anything important. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Another thing that I liked about the movie was the animation. I think the animation was absolutely top notch. The lighting.
Yeah, it is very good. Yeah.
Detail to the characters to actually see Mario and
Way
all
better
of
than
the
Spider-Verse or
creatures
Puss in Boots
of the
2.
Mushroom Kingdom be put into a full 3D perspective like this on a screen, as opposed to an interactive medium like a video game, but to see them in this insane amount of render and definition. You've never seen them in this much detail before. Hell, if you've got a Nintendo Switch, that console's like a console generation behind in graphics. So to actually see the Mario characters look like modernized characters in graphics that you would maybe have on a current gen console is kind of...
What? Okay, I didn't watch this much of the video. Is he really arguing that like a PS5 can output like visuals on par with modern animated movies? No. Like that's not true, Phil. Like if you know anything about animation, you know that's literally not possible. Okay, this retard is literally saying that games on the PS5 look as good as like Pixar films. Okay, he's arguing that they look as good as this movie. No, they don't, Phil. They don't. And this is one of those things that I always go on about when people start talking about graphics. They really don't seem to know what they're talking about in like, because they always just have this idea that like graphics on like PlayStation, Xbox, PC are just automatically better, even when that's not actually true. Like Super Mario Galaxy is a really good example of that. Because like that's a game from 2007, yet it looks and plays better than anything on like consoles made today. Okay. Like, because it's just so much more creative, it's so much more vibrant, it has personality. Something like that is just kind of unmatched. Like, especially at the time. So, Phil, like, going off on this, like, oh, yes, like, if Nintendo had more powerful hardware, they could make video games that look like this. No, they couldn't, Phil. Like, it's not possible.
Mind-blowing and boggling. But as the movie goes on, which, by the way, only has about a 90-minute running time, it becomes a little bit more and more apparent that this movie is meant as a standalone feature and isn't really meant to be a way to explain the lore of the games, nor does it really feel like it really even has a direct connection to any of the stories of the games previous. It really is.
What game story? Like, Bowser kidnaps Peach and Mario goes to save her. That's it. What game story? Like, he wanted to go into, like, the politics of the Mushroom Kingdom. Did he want them to explain the economy? Did he want them to explain, like, the origin of the power-ups? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Peach, hinting at having a backstory is, like, the most amount of background we've gotten for her ever. Okay, that blew my mind when I saw this. Of course, the actual explanation is dumb as fuck, but like this is just insane. Oh, hang on, why did it? Every time I pause it, it does that thing where it lags.
Mario game, he even jumps and grabs a flag at one point. Okay, but never is he using the elements that you would have thought. Like for example, why is he jumping on a Goomba and then kicking the shell and doing a big combo against the
Wait. Did he just say Goomba?
But never is he using the elements that you would have thought. Like for example, why is he jumping on a Goomba and then kicking the shell and doing a big combo?
Yeah, he legit said Goomba. Yeah, hardcore Mario aficionado, everyone. Like, why doesn't he kick the Goomba and then kick its shell? Like, unfucking believable. What a
Combo
poser.
against the Koopas all the time, right? He doesn't do that. There's no classic Mario stuff. Is there fire flowers? Yes, but when you get one, all of a sudden it's like completely different how it would have been used in the games. You know,
It's almost like it's a completely different setting, like medium, Phil. Like, it's almost like they need to change the way things work, you know, because this isn't a video game, it's a movie. So, like, the stakes are different, like, the consequences are different. Like, it doesn't play out like the games.
feels like that. Even something like he has the cat suit. Well, he has cat powers, but is he using some of the cat powers from the game? Yeah, but he's also like super powered. Like now he's a superhero and he's flying around doing cat fu, kung fu. That's not in the game. You see? And it does that a lot. Like it basically takes the lore of the games and just turns it into its own entity and kind of goes way outside of the realms and confines of what we already know from the video games. And you might argue, well, that's good because that's original. But the question is, who are they trying to appease with this movie? Because in 90 minutes of runtime, there really isn't much substance to this movie at all. There's a lot of action. There's a few laughs along the way, but it never really feels at the end of the movie like, wow, finally Mario made it to the big screen and we got to see all those things that we loved from the Mario games transferred faithfully. It feels nothing like that. It's like they didn't bother trying to be faithful. They just wanted to get those elements on the screen in any mishmash, smashed way, and it doesn't feel like Mario at the end of the movie. The end of the movie is so weird. Without spoiling, there's a big resolution where Mario and Luigi finally kind of man up and team up, and they face Bowser mano a mano, and through this clever tactic, they beat him. But the question is, why wasn't that clever tactic ever used earlier in the movie? This is an element that was introduced early on in the movie.
Wow, clever tactic. Yeah, teaming up. It's almost like Luigi wasn't with Mario throughout most of it. What's he talking about?
And was forgotten about till the end. You could have literally beaten him at any point in the movie using this, but you didn't remember it till the last minute of the movie so that you can have your happy ending resolution.
What? You could have used a superstar at any time. The superstar that Bowser had, genius.
Also, and this is a minor spoiler, but I will tell you, it's so odd. At the end of the movie, the Mushroom Kingdom spills into real life Brooklyn, New York. And all the people there are like, huh? But it's funny because at first they're all like, what the hell's going on? What are these giant turtles invading? And then within seconds, it's like, fine. Everything's fine. Like, what? Like, they're not freaking out? They're not ripping their hair out of their head that interdimensional creatures are invading New York? Oh, no, it's fine because the Mario brothers are here and they're saving the day and everything's happy. Like, what? No! A dimensional tear just opened. Are you not losing your mind? Are you not like, you know what I mean? Like, they act like it's nothing. And so at the end of the day...
It's not.
After watching this movie, I have to conclude it's a children's movie. This
Wrong.
movie doesn't have any kind of complex plot line.
Yeah, so you hear this like being thrown around as like a criticism is that like this idea that it's a children's movie. And like the idea is that like it's a pejorative that like, oh yes, this is something that can only be enjoyed by children, but like that's very obviously not true. By looking at like the reception to like general audiences and like the parents and stuff like that. Like this is genuinely a good movie in general. What I find really interesting is just how people like Phil and people like in the animation community, like they seem to have this weird contempt of children. You know, they don't see a movie that children can like watch with their families. They see a movie that's only for children. You know, and it's like it's only for like, you know, low IQ, like brain-rotted children, little children who don't know how to read. And it's just like, it's so obviously disrespectful because this is a movie that knows very much what it wants to be, knows very well what it wants to do, and like everybody in the community just kind of sneers at it. It's really really odd, actually.
Really doesn't even have much of a coherent plot line. It's just, we got to do this. Now we're going here to do this. Now we're going here to do this. Fight, fight, fight. Go to here to do this. Fight, fight, fight. Go to here to do this. Fight, fight, fight. You don't see any character development in the characters besides Luigi. There's one moment of character development at the end of the movie, and that's it. Everyone else.
That's not true. Like Mario and Donkey Kong bond, Peach and Mario form a relationship. Luigi mans up. Like the characters do grow. Like I keep seeing this criticism thrown around that the characters don't grow or change, but that's very, very obviously not true.
Just kind of stays in their lane of who they are, and there's a lot of action that's just kind of frivolous action that doesn't really go anywhere. Like I said, there's tons of references to Mario, but none of them are really utilized to explain anything or make it feel like anything is of worth. Here's a perfect example. In one scene, they'll start playing a theme from Super Mario Brothers, the original game. Then all of a sudden, it transitions to an orchestral theme from Super Mario 64. And then all of a sudden, there's a song from Super Mario Galaxy. And if you know those games, you're like, oh, this is neat. But why did they do that mishmash of themes all together like that? Why don't they have a continuous running theme throughout the movie that's the theme of the movie? If you actually watch great franchises like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, they all have those synonymous scenes. Star Wars, dun 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 dun, or Lord of the Rings, dun 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 dun, and you hear those in the movie, you get goosebumps. Why didn't they just use the Mario theme as the theme to hold this together and gel it together and play it through the whole movie? Instead,
they did.
They just mishmashed random Mario themes and smashed them together. And then guess what else they did? They purchased licensed music. Yes, there's actual like mainstream music from other movies you've heard a million times. How many times have you heard Holding Out for a Hero in a movie? I've heard it in Short Circuit 2. I heard it in freaking Saints Row 3. It's been in so many comedy movies. And they got Holding Out for a Hero in the Mario movie. It's played out. It almost feels to me like the writers had an idea for what they wanted to do, but they just kind of gave in to common tropes of what's expected in kind of a generic action movie for kids, rather than trying to actually make this a Mario movie. Like, no exaggeration. You could remove all the Mario elements, and it could still be a good movie for kids.
What?
It didn't really add anything having the Mario elements. I mean it. Like, it just didn't feel meaningful to me as a Mario movie.
What?
I would expect this is how...
Meaningful. Like they keep saying this is meaningful. They can't enjoy things as like, just for being what they are, or just being something that exists. It has to be deep and meaningful, because I have such a shallow, empty life.
We're going to take Mario to the big screen, introduce him to the world, and we're going to have all these cool, meaningful memes and tropes and things that are going to come out of it. You want to know the one meme that came out of this movie? Peaches. Do you know what that is? At one point, Bowser, played by Jack Black, sits down at a piano, and he's supposed to be the big bad of the movie, the ominous character threatening everyone, and he plays a love ballad to Princess Peach about his crush about her, where he's just like, I want to, treat you well for the rest of your life. You're going to be with me.
No.
Peaches, 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 peaches. And that's it. And every time he plays it, he gets interrupted. So it's not even like a full-length song. And by the way, the song's not funny. Like, it would have been one thing if it like big, hilarious punchlines and things. It's just not. It's just the joke's supposed to be,
oh, wow,
he's the big bad, but he's sensitive. Look, he plays the song. It's not even funny. Somehow it became a meme on the internet. I don't know why. The song's not good, and it's not funny, so why are we memeing it? Right? There was like almost no...
It is funny, Phil. It is funny.
Memeable moments in the movie. They tried hard, like Toad with his one-liners and stuff, but it doesn't really work. It kind of falls flat. And by the end of the movie, I'll be honest with you, I'm not even kidding you, I started nodding off at the end of the movie. I was bored, because I was like, nothing here is really meaningful. The writing's kind of bad. It's definitely writing for kids. It's not really, doesn't have anything there for adults. And as a lifelong fan of Mario, I got bored of them just taking something from a Mario game and cramming it into the movie with no meaning, no explanation. It was not very good, honestly. Like, the actual visual style, amazing, okay? The voice acting, perfectly fine. I don't care about having, Star-Lord as Mario. I don't care that Jack Black was Bowser. None of that mattered to me. They did a fine job in their roles. The problem was the plot was just not very good. It was boring. It droned on. For a 90-minute movie, I shouldn't be nodding off. I should be feeling like the movie's too short. It feels like the movie's too long, because nothing of meaning is really ever going on, and it just kind of doesn't feel like you're going anywhere. The resolution doesn't feel very satisfying. And at the end of the day, when the movie ends, you're kind of like, I think they kind of missed the mark here. Like, the point of making a mainstream Mario movie should have been to convert the video games into a movie. Not let's take random things from each game, smash them together, add pop culture references, add music that's licensed from pop culture, and just homogenize it into another Illumination movie. That's exactly what they did. And by the way, I'm a fan of movies like Despicable Me and Minions because those were original plots. Things that were made original, the first time you're seeing them. They weren't based on anything else. So when you're watching those movies, you're interested in where they're going. Here I'm like, when are we going to get to Mario Brothers? And by the end of the movie, you're like, we never got to Mario Brothers. We just saw a generic action movie for kids that happened to have Mario Brothers characters and music in it. So I didn't really like it. And I know that's going to be kind of disappointing for a lot of people who were hoping that I was going to say I loved it. I actually didn't really like it. I thought it was kind of meh. I was bored at parts. I was disappointed there was no running theme of Mario. I was really disappointed when they used the licensed music. The plot had no development whatsoever for 99% of the characters. They were just kind of there to be there. And at the end of the day, I felt like it was a meaningless story. Like, it didn't really tell anything. It just happened. And now the Mario Brothers are in the Mushroom Kingdom. And if they have a sequel, there's a little Easter egg at the end hinting at Yoshi being in the next one. Great, I guess. And there's going to be a next one because this one made so much money. But again, unless it has meaning. Like, for example, if the next one was Super Mario World and introduced the plot line that Bowser now has Koopa kids you have to fight. And there's a world taken over with these different, like there's a chocolate land and there's this different themed.
The Koopalings weren't introduced in Mario World, dumbass. They were introduced in Mario 3. Like, what are you talking about? Like again, what is with this weird obsession with thinking World was going to be the next one? It doesn't
and Mario's doing all that stuff. That would be neat. But that's the thing, like, they didn't do that in this one. They had opportunity to utilize everything from the Mario games to make, like, segments of the movie. They didn't bother doing that. If anything, they did it for a quick montage and then went back to their kind of generic plot and missed on the whole point of making a Mario movie. So, great if Yoshi's in the next one, but if Yoshi's in the next one, it has nothing to do with Super Mario World, you kind of missed the point again. So, I didn't really like it. I'm sorry, the animation was the best part for me. And hearing some nostalgic themes and every once in a while an Easter egg. Outside of that, I was pretty darn bored. Like I said, I literally almost nodded off at the end of the movie. I was like, I had to keep myself awake to try to finish it, and the ending sucked. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe this movie was made solely for kids. Maybe I'm missing the point. Maybe this is a way to introduce Mario to children, right? Because I actually heard a lot of people around, even on my streams, but in real life, saying they liked the movie. Maybe if you're not someone who's played every Mario game, you're someone who's not looking for that in there, and all you care about that it's Mario, because you know what Mario is, then maybe you loved the movie. But for me, I was like, wasn't what I want. It wasn't what I was expecting. Like, imagine if they make a Legend of Zelda movie next, but it doesn't have any of the elements of plot of Zelda. There's no major Master Sword. There's no Triforce. There's no Ganon, or there is Ganon, but he's generic and boring and doesn't have the ominous tone of the character from the games. But instead, they cram all the Zelda shit in there. But it's definitely just an action movie for kids with jokes and pop culture and shit in it. You'd be like, huh? Why'd they do that? They have all these awesome fantasy elements you can use to make an amazing story out of all those Zelda games and make a movie out of it. Imagine if they just ignored all those elements and instead said, here's a generic, another Illumination movie that just happened to have Zelda characters in it. That's kind of how I felt about the Mario movie. I hope they don't do that with Zelda, because Zelda, the lore is great. I mean, there's insanely good lore there to dive into. Why would you ignore it all? And that's what I kind of like they felt that they did here. I don't know what happened. So that's my review of the Mario movie. Honestly, I didn't like it. If I had to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, I'd probably give it a thumbs down. I wouldn't even give it a meh. I'd be like, nah, I didn't really like it, Sucks because I really wanted to like it. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to be honest. I just didn't really enjoy it that much. I hope that if they make a sequel, it's more in line with what you would expect of the wonder and the lore of the Mario world, and having more of that treated respectfully and interestingly, rather than just saying, it's a Mario movie, cram all that shit into 90 minutes and have none of it make any sense. I hope they do a better job next time.
Yeah, he keeps saying this, like, lore. He's a poser. Like that's my impression watching this. That's my impression watching any of, like, the critics of this, is that, like, you're a poser. You don't know anything about the brand. You don't know anything about, like, the people behind this. You don't know anything about the movie you just saw, even. Like, you're just complaining because, like, well, it's Mario, and I have to pretend to be a jaded fan. It's just...
What did you think of the Mario movie? Leave a comment on this video. Let me know if I'm absolutely
Uh,
crazy insane, or if you kind
yeah,
of
you're
agree with
insane.
me, or maybe you fall somewhere in the middle. I would absolutely love to know your thoughts. And of course, engagement helps this channel. So please, by all
What?
means,
Okay.
share your
I
thoughts.
guess we'll leave a comment real quick. Movie was great. Oh, I already left a comment. Okay, oops. Yeah, I forgot. Okay, so that's DSP's that is DSP's Mario movie review, and what a complete joke! Like, what a complete joke! It's just like, why the hell is this zoomed in so much? Yeah, what a complete joke! Like DSP, he's just I don't understand why he tries to pretend to be a Mario fan because he clearly isn't. Like he clearly doesn't like respect the brand of the characters because otherwise like he wouldn't say certain things, you know. Like the lore thing is the big thing for me, but like calling Peach like Toadstool and like Bowser King Koopa, it's like that's a very stereotypical like thing for people in the 80s who haven't played a Mario game since to do, you know. Like it really does come off that way that like he's very much stuck in this mindset that like yes, Mario has to be exactly like I imagined it when I was a kid. And Americans have this tendency to like make Mario come off as like way more badass and cool than it actually is. And I think that's the problem with like a lot of these critics is that like, well, Bowser's not threatening enough because he's a simp, you know. He's always been a simp. You know, like this is it's very very frustrating watching these kind of reviews because they're so they're taken in bad faith essentially. Like that's like the root of it, I think, is that these aren't really um reviews made by actual fans who are actually like evaluating like the actual qualities of it because like you know how little did he talk about like you know the action or like the things that happen in it like the set pieces or all the cool stuff the creativity like instead he just does this vague thing where he complains it doesn't follow the storyline of the games which by the way have no storyline like again it's just him being like hyperbolic and ridiculous. Like it really does need to be called out just how awful a review this actually was.